Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Pop Culture Junkie. I am here today to recap and review the WWE's greatest Royal Rumble pay-per-view network special event that just took place in Saudi Arabia on Friday, April 27th, 2018. Now, this has been a highly hyped and promoted event. It's essentially basically a live event that was going to take place in Saudi Arabia, but they gave it the moniker of the greatest Royal Rumble. That was going to include 7 championship matches and a 50-man Royal Rumble event. That's right. This is a Royal Rumble that's happening at a different show other than an actual annual Royal Rumble pay-per-view. So very unique, very different to say the least, obviously. Now, this was again, a show that they heavily hyped. Lots of promotions were done on the Raws and SmackDowns leading up to it. So much so that they've been advertising this even more than Backlash, which is next Sunday. That's ridiculous. We only have like a couple of matches announced for there, and there's only like 2 shows left before the actual pay-per-view. So the show has come and gone, and we're going to talk about the matches and the results and any other little things that happened during the course of the show. Starting off, of course, now they did a kickoff show, and I'll let you know. The show started at 7 o'clock in Saudi Arabia at night. It started at my time at 10 a.m. in Central Time in the U.S. here because I live in Texas. So the show started with a kickoff show at 10 a.m. and then the actual show itself began at 11. During the kickoff, we had Booker T, Jerry Lawler talking at the little panel table, giving their predictions on who's going to win whatever matches. Later on in the kickoff show, we were treated with the trio of Jerry Lawler, Jim Ross, and Paul Heyman all having some input on the show's events tonight. And, I mean, really, it's like you're teasing us so bad. You have Jerry the King Lawler, Jim Ross, and Paul Heyman right there in the arena at the event. Just put them on commentary and let Booker T and Corey Graves and Byron Saxton have the night off. Don't even bother bringing them over to the show. I mean, can you imagine the commentary from those 3 on a show with these kind of matches? It would be unbelievable. It'd be amazing. It would just be the greatest pay-per-view period if they had done that. So to start the main show, we have the Star Spangled Banner being played over the intercom. And, of course, they didn't have anybody there to sing the national anthem. We didn't have Lillian Garcia, unfortunately. Like I covered already in my prediction video, there weren't going to be any women at this show for obvious reasons. They're not allowed to be there due to the customs in Saudi Arabia. They're just not allowed. They're not permitted. So, of course, they're not going to endanger any of the employees or women. So, of course, they're not going to be there. So they start off with that, and then we go into our opening match, which is John Cena versus Triple H. So they start off with a bang right there. Triple H comes out with first of all, actually, before I even get to that, they had an amazing pyro display at the very beginning to start the show. Incredible. Okay, the stage looks amazing also, by the way. I really was impressed with the setup, the layout. That was beautiful. I also really enjoyed the pyro, and I wish we had more pyro at more events. I don't know why they're being so cheap with pyro lately, but they have been. WrestleMania is the only time they use it. Now at least they used it at this one, so it was a very nice treat to see some pyro. So we have Triple H come out first, and he comes out in his standard. He's got the vest and trunks and everything. He had a little skull bandana on his face. Nothing too over the top, just a standard Triple H entrance. John Cena comes out next, and they kind of did the same thing they did where when I went to WrestleMania 25, they had a bunch of Cena impersonators lined up on either side of the entrance ramp. Except this time they had little kids dressed up in Cena gear on either side, and Cena comes out and high-fives them and such, and then runs to the ring. So it was a nice little entrance, but yeah, I wonder whose parents those kids were, I wonder. So the match goes, and it was just your typical house show style match. There was nothing really wow or impressive. It was just, they ran through the motions, which I expect that from a lot of these matches, because really, again, this is just a very, very hyped up house show or live event that's, being very, heavily hyped. So they go back and forth, and at one point, Triple H kicks out after an AA. Michael Cole loses his mind like normal, thinking it's the first time we've ever seen that, which it's not. Later on, Cena kicks out after a pedigree pin, and he, again, loses his mind. Cena gets Triple H in the STFU, but he does not tap out. He ends up delivering another AA to Triple H and gets the pinfall and victory. Afterwards, Cena gets on the mic to thank the crowd for letting this be a possibility and letting him be a part of it. And the crowd, of course, is happy and cheers him on. I did find it interesting that when Cena was speaking to the audience, he did drop the little hint about saying, hey, no matter what's going on in my universe, quote, because of course we know everything going on in the media lately with him and Nikki Bella as far as their breakup and everything going on with that. It was an interesting little hint he made as far as saying, no matter what's going on in my universe, I'm proud and happy to be a part of this event and this show. Next up, we have the Cruiserweight title match of Cedric Alexander defending the title against Kalisto. This match was very entertaining. I really enjoyed this match. And originally I thought Kalisto almost had a chance at winning the title here. But my prediction for this match was Cedric Alexander, and he did retain. But it was a very good match. I mean, there was your basic Cruiserweight, lots of high flying and different maneuvers. The ending was a very good surprise though. Kalisto hit his finisher, and as he flips over Cedric Alexander, Alexander turns it into basically a backcracker and drops Kalisto across his knees and gets the pinfall. Great match again, and I definitely would recommend watching that one if you have not seen this show yet. The next match is the vacant WWE Raw Tag Team title match. Bray Wyatt and Woken Matt Hardy versus The Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro. Of course, Sheamus and Cesaro just recently got traded to SmackDown, so it's kind of obvious they weren't going to win the belts. It would make no sense for them to take the red belts over to the blue show unless they're going to go back to Raw because they win the titles, but that was never made as a stipulation or any part of that. So anyways, we had the match of The Bar versus Woken, Matt Hardy, and Bray Wyatt. It really kind of dragged for me. I didn't think it was that great a match. It seems like Hardy and Bray just don't have the chemistry that they need to be a successful tag team yet. And that's obvious because they haven't really been tagging long. Okay, it's not like it's Jeff and Matt Hardy who've been tagging for 20 years now. They need some time to build their tag team up and get some rhythm, get some better chemistry going. But I honestly am a fan because I am a huge fan of Bray Wyatt. I've been a fan of his from day one when he came in with this brand new character, and it's a shame what they've done with it. I wish that he had been kept stronger with the Wyatt family. I wish the Wyatt family had never broken up. I think they could have been a very powerful stable. But anyways, we are now at the point where Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy are a tag team. The match happens, and like I said, the match did not do very well in my opinion. It was probably a 2 out of 5 star match, if that. But thankfully, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt did pick up the victory when Bray Wyatt first hits Sheamus with a Sister Abigail. He goes to tag in Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy goes to do a twist of fate, and Bray Wyatt picks up Sheamus from behind, almost in a wheelbarrow move, and they basically double team the twist of fate to Sheamus. Matt Hardy gets the pin, and we have new Raw Tag Team Champion Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. Next, we had the WWE United States Championship title match of champion Jeff Hardy defending against Jinder Mahal. Jeff Hardy picks up the win here after hitting first a very good twist of fate, which almost looked like a variant on the stunner, and then follows it up with a swanton bomb to get the pinfall. The match was your basic house show match. There was nothing too flashy. They both got in their main spots, their main moves, but again, it was very basic. It's a typical house show kind of match. If you've been to a house show, you know what I'm talking about. I'm glad to see Hardy retain. I was nervous they were going to have Jinder Mahal pick up the win here. There was a lot of rumors going around that the only reason they had Jeff Hardy win the title on Raw a couple weeks ago was because they wanted Jinder Mahal to get the win in Saudi Arabia, which, again, made no sense to me. But that's good that we see that Jeff Hardy did retain the title. So there we go. After a quick video package that highlights the country of Jeddah that's hosting the Greatest Royal Rumble show here, we go to the WWE panel where we have Booker T, Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, and Byron Saxton to discuss everything that's happened so far in the show. Then they cut to the backstage for an interview with the returning Chris Jericho, who's been gone for about 7 months. Cuts a promo advertising himself, of course, for the Royal Rumble event. He's going to be part of that match later. During this, we also get to see the return of the list of Jericho, where he puts the cameraman, the sound guy, the interviewer, all of them on the list of Jericho. Very entertaining spot, just like Jericho always can deliver. We go backstage and we see Daniel Bryan standing by for a quick interview. Daniel Bryan says it's a privilege to be here in Saudi Arabia and that he is looking forward to winning the biggest Royal Rumble in history. That is, of course, the greatest Royal Rumble match, and says he will be victorious. So next up, we have the WWE SmackDown Tag Team title match of the champions, the Bludgeon Brothers of Rowan and Harper. That's right, no longer Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, just Rowan and Harper. defending against Jimmy and Jay Uso, the Usos. This match was very uneventful, sadly, and it had a lot of potential, I thought. But I think if we get another match or rematch on either SmackDown or Backlash, something like that, I think the match might be a lot better and have a longer period of time. Maybe they had to cut it short for certain reasons. Bludgeon Brothers were victorious. They pick up the win, and they are still your tag team champions. Up next, we have the Intercontinental title Fatal 4-Way Ladder Match. Champion Seth Rollins defending the title against Samoa Joe, The Miz, and Finn Balor. This match was very good, very entertaining. It was obviously, again, a house show style match, but we had a lot of good spots and a lot of safe spots, so nobody was going to get too hurt. It is a ladder match, so anything could happen, of course. There were a couple of good moments in the match I really liked. There was the moment where it looked like Finn Balor was going to do a aerial maneuver to Samoa Joe laying underneath the ladder, and instead Seth Rollins comes up and goes to put him into a superplex. Samoa Joe comes up underneath Rollins and delivers a powerbomb combo superplex then. And that was a good spot. Now the match goes back and forth. There's a lot of big moments where you think anybody could win. The Miz had a couple of really good spots where you thought he was going to get the championship. Then we have Finn Balor climbing the ladder. He's almost at the top. He's got a cut on his right eye and he's starting to bleed. And we think, oh, it's going to be Finn Balor. But no, springboard off of the rope from the outside. Seth Rollins leaps onto the top of the ladder and just reaches up above Finn Balor in time to grab the title and fall down, and he retains the Intercontinental Championship. Very good ending to a very entertaining match. We then cut to another video package highlighting a tryout they held in Jeddah, apparently, searching for talent to hopefully bring in to, say, NXT or maybe even the main roster of tryouts they held there for WWE. And then we cut back to the live audience, and we have 4 individuals standing by to be interviewed, and seems like they were the top prospects from the tryouts, and looks like they may have actual contracts to begin training and becoming WWE superstar. They are given a chance to be interviewed, but they are interrupted by the Daivari brothers, who cut promos on them to get some heel heat on themselves, and then give the 4 prospects basically a little moment to shine in front of the live crowd. The next matchup was the WWE Heavyweight title match. AJ Styles defending the title against Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, this match was also a rematch because we just saw it just a couple weeks ago at WrestleMania. Unfortunately, this match went to a double countout and nobody won. This was an unfortunate ending to the match, but honestly, this is the best way for it to end because neither one of these competitors should lose. AJ should not lose the title, and Shinsuke should not be pinned or tapping out. He should be challenging AJ again, probably at Backlash. We'll probably get some kind of announcement on SmackDown this week to where they're going to have some sort of match. And I'm hoping some sort of gimmick match, okay? I don't care if it's steel cage, false count anywhere, ladder match, whatever. Some kind of stipulation should be added if they're going to do another one-on-one match for the world title. Match ended with both Nakamura and Styles fighting on the outside of the ring while the ref counted them out. AJ Styles then throws Nakamura into the timekeeper area, delivers a flying body press over it. He goes to put Nakamura back in the ring and attempt a phenomenal forearm from the outside, but Nakamura rolls outside to the other side of the ring, outside where the entrance ramp is. AJ ends up following him and delivers a flying forearm from over the top rope anyways, and then hits his music. So, decent match, some good spots, but this match, of course, we know can be so much better. I'm looking forward to their next match, definitely. Up next, we have the casket match between The Undertaker and Rusev with Aiden English in his corner. Aiden English comes out first to introduce Rusev, and then we get the amazing entrance of The Undertaker, something that everyone should try their best to see at least once in your lifetime in person. Rusev has The Undertaker weakened and puts him in the Accolade briefly, but Undertaker is too strong to be held down. He ends up chokeslamming Rusev and rolling him into the casket. Aiden English attempts to interfere, but ends up getting a chokeslam and a tombstone, and then Undertaker rolls him into the casket with Rusev and shuts the lid to win the match. Undertaker then poses in the ring as a huge firework and pyro display goes off to celebrate his victory. Alright, our next matchup is the WWE Universal Championship match of Brock Lesnar defending against Roman Reigns. Yes, Roman Reigns gets another world title match opportunity because he just lost at WrestleMania, so he has to get another title shot, right? That's just how things work in WWE. We get a video package to recap all the events that have led up to Roman and Brock, all their different encounters at WrestleMania and so forth. Roman Reigns enters first, gets a major pyro display again. Out comes Brock Lesnar with his pyro, which is nice to see finally. Okay, it's once again welcome to have pyro being part of wrestlers' entrances, especially when it's been a common occurrence, and then all of a sudden they stop using it. Just like any other match, Brock Lesnar goes for German suplexes and F5s. Roman goes for Superman punches and spears. And Michael Cole is even shouting along on commentary going, all right, everyone, the scorecard is this many F5s, this many German suplexes, this many Superman punches. It's like, you know, these two guys could actually put on a wrestling match and maybe actually give us some kind of an entertaining match. Yet instead we have to just go by 2 moves each, and that's it. It just, yeah, it's bizarre. Roman Reigns and Brock continue exchanging signature moves, and we end up getting Brock Lesnar with his back to the steel cage, and Roman Reigns goes to spear Brock, and he ends up spearing Brock out of the ring, and the cage wall breaks. So they both fall to the outside. Lesnar falls on his back on the back of the cage wall. Roman ends up basically DDTing himself under Brock's arm. It looked really bad, actually, the way Roman landed. The referee declares Brock Lesnar as the winner because his back hit the floor first, and therefore he retains the title. Lesnar is still the Universal Champion. All right, we are now at the top of the card at the main event. That is the 50-man Royal Rumble matchup. That's right, the main match that this whole show was named after, calling it the greatest Royal Rumble event. And this is the Royal Rumble match with 50 participants, the biggest amount of participants in the history of the Royal Rumble, period. Now, of course, this is not an official Royal Rumble, because the official Royal Rumble is the winner faces the heavyweight champ of their choosing at WrestleMania. And we are 2.5, 3 weeks past WrestleMania for the year, so this is just more of a prize match. You win a trophy, and they just announced right before the match that there was also going to be a title belt given to the winner. For whatever reason, I don't know. It was a green title belt, and it actually looked pretty cool, but I don't know what that means. Is the winner going to defend the title? Is it something that the person that wins just can hold and carry around saying, hey, I'm the winner of the 50-man greatest Royal Rumble match, but is it a belt you're ever going to defend? Is it kind of like another $1 million title belt where it's just a belt to have someone hold? We'll see. Like I said, there were 50 participants in this match, and way too many to list off to read all the names. But pretty much anybody that's on Raw and SmackDown that is a male, they were in the match. There were a couple of surprises from NXT that showed up, and a few legends showed up, such as the Great Khali, Rey Mysterio, Chris Jericho, Mark Henry. Okay, individuals that you didn't expect to be in this match were in this match, so that was a nice surprise. I think the biggest surprise for me was Hornswoggle showed up. He was in the match too, if you remember who Hornswoggle is. So my final picks for the match originally were going to be Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, and Daniel Bryan. Those were like my final 3, and unfortunately they were all eliminated very quickly towards the end. Although I do want to point out, Daniel Bryan did an amazing performance. He was in the match for over an hour and 15 minutes. He entered the match at number 1. Dolph Ziggler was number 2. And both participants did an incredible job. Daniel Bryan definitely is back and can go. It was scary to see how beat up he looked, too. His chest, just like Corey Graves said, looked like hamburger meat. Honestly, the match itself, for the most part, was just a very basic Rumble Battle Royal kind of match where you did have, an entrant come in every 90 seconds. At some point you had maybe 5 or 6 wrestlers in the ring at once. For having 50 participants, there were surprisingly not enough moments where the ring was really full. I was expecting there to be like 20 wrestlers in the ring at one time, and then when somebody big like Mark Henry or Braun Strowman, when they came in, they'd clear house. But we really didn't have that. You did have, like I said, 5 or 6 guys in the ring, and then that's when somebody would come in and maybe eliminate a few of them, and then other people would come in, but there wasn't really that big moment where somebody just comes in and just cleans house. Now, a couple moments in the match that really stood out and it's all towards the very end, okay? You could really fast forward to the very end where the final person has entered the match. Number 50 was Chris Jericho, which I liked. That was a nice spot for him to be in. Unfortunately, he was not in the match for very long. He really came out just to give us a little tease about the rivalry that he and Kevin Owens had, which of course was one of the best rivalries we've had in most recent years. Two big spots that happened. One really made me cringe, and that was Bobby Lashley was in the ring. He set Big Cass up for a standing suplex, where he sets him up for a suplex but holds him up in the air, very similar to like the way British Bulldog used to do back in the day. And it seemed like, I don't know if Big Cass is just too tall for him or what, because Bobby Lashley is a very strong person. He attempted the suplex, but he could not hold him up for very long. He put Big Cass back down on his feet. He attempted it a second time, but this time he ended up basically delivering almost a brainbuster style suplex to Big Cass. And for a guy that big, he does not need to take that kind of bump. It did look very scary. So we come down to the final three, and it is Daniel Bryan, Braun Strowman, and Big Cass. Those are your final three. Just before that, Braun Strowman took care of eliminating Shane McMahon, who also did a couple of scary bumps, especially when he did his coast-to-coast on Strowman. That looked scary. I almost thought Shane gave himself a concussion the way he landed. He attempted to do another one to, I believe, Big Cass that Daniel Bryan helped set up. Or, I'm sorry, he attempted to do it to Kevin Owens, I believe, who Daniel Bryan helped set up. But Strowman interfered, and as Shane is standing on the top turnbuckle, Strowman ends up basically throwing Shane off the top rope through the nearby announce table. That looked like a very bad fall that Shane had to take. So we get down to the final three, and it is Daniel Bryan, it's Big Cass, and Braun Strowman. Daniel Bryan ends up getting eliminated by Big Cass, and then we look like it's going to be Big Cass eliminating Braun, but instead Strowman ends up getting Big Cass to straddle the top rope and then just basically rams into him and knocks him off the ring apron. And Braun Strowman is the winner of the first ever Greatest Royal Rumble match, of the 50-man Royal Rumble match. And in the ring, we have Vince McMahon along with a representative from Saudi Arabia, and they present Braun Strowman with the trophy, and they also present him with the green title belt that symbolizes he was the winner of the Battle Royal. Now, something that really annoyed me in this match was the commentary, okay? We had to sit through over an hour, almost an hour and a half of commentary from Michael Cole, Byron Saxton, and Corey Graves. Corey Graves, of course, I would say is the lesser of the three evils at ringside. However, Michael Cole, I wish we could just get rid of. I wish we could replace him. The most annoying part for me, I believe it was number 39, I think. I can't remember exactly what number. Titus O'Neil making his entrance into the Royal Rumble match. He comes running down the ramp to get into the ring. He gets down to the very bottom of the ramp, and unfortunately he tripped, and he ends up sliding into the actual ring apron underneath the ring, okay? And you know, obviously, Vince McMahon is watching backstage and is laughing his ass off at this, and he fed to Michael Cole in the headphones probably, "Oh my gosh, you gotta talk about that. Hype that up. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen." And Michael Cole did exactly that. He hyped it like it was the greatest moment in the history of all wrestling, period. Watching Titus O'Neil trip and fly into the apron. I don't know if that was planned. I doubt it. But if it was, okay, whatever. But obviously, it could not have been planned. I don't see how that's anything that they would plan to have happen. Michael Cole not only compared it to Shawn Michaels going from bell to bell, winning the Royal Rumble, to Mysterio lasting longer than anyone else. He even went as far as to say, "Hey, Stone Cold, you won 3 Royal Rumbles, but beat this." Not only did Michael Cole have to go completely berserk and lose his mind over it, they replayed it like 4 times before they actually paid more attention to the actual Rumble match again. Okay, that's just ridiculous. And it took away so much from any kind of enjoyment I was having at the time. So I just had to say that was like the most annoying part of the match itself. Braun Strowman winning, that's perfectly fine, okay? Unfortunately, like I said before, okay, he got the trophy and he was given a title belt. So basically, Braun Strowman now has a championship title belt that he can bring out with him to the ring on Raw, and we're going to look at that basically as some kind of top singles belt that really, how do you defend that? Are you going to just have Battle Royals or Royal Rumbles every few months to defend your title? I don't get it. I'll be very curious to see if Strowman shows up every week on Raw carrying that title to every match he has. if anything, you could look at it as, okay, there's a substitute for not having Lesnar around, because you know Lesnar's not going to be there every week, and he is the top champion on Raw. So there you go. You got another top guy holding a title belt. At least you have the image of somebody with a top title belt then. Well, there we have it, guys and gals. That is the greatest Royal Rumble pay-per-view live again from Saudi Arabia this afternoon. It was a entertaining show, and like I said, it was nothing more than a live event house show with a lot of extra pyro and a lot of extra star power. That's really how to sum it up. It was entertaining. Pretty much every face won their match in some form or another. So there you have it. That is the full recap of the 2018 WWE Greatest Royal Rumble. I'm not sure if they're going to do this again next year. Who knows? Maybe they'll do some other random live events at other areas of the world or the country, and they'll hype up something else. Maybe we'll have some kind of, you know what, honestly, if they're going to do something like this for the Royal Rumble, how about we do some epic, amazing Survivor Series theme pay-per-view? How about that? Let's go back to having the actual 5-on-5 tag teams or 4-on-4 tag teams, and then elimination style. Okay, the winners proceed onto another match or something like that. Let's go old school, like the 1990 Survivor Series. That was awesome. That was an awesome idea. So who knows? Who knows what they're going to come up with? Maybe we'll do a King of the Ring one time. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts. Share with me. Leave me some comments below. Let me know what you thought of the show, if you did watch it. And how did you enjoy it? Did you think it was good? Was it worth the time? Did they even give... did they get their money's worth? Do you think the hype and everything lived up to it? Let me know. Share with me in the comments. All right, let's move on to some questions I received on Twitter. We have Samantha S. asking, who will be Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt's first opponents for the tag team titles? I'm going to assume possibly be the Revival. Are they still on Raw? I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember from the Superstar shakeup. I'm going to say it could be the Revival, possibly. Costa Balor asks, who will beat Brock? That's a very tough question, because who knows? They've been hyping up everybody else, and then they let him, beat them. So who knows? My money was going to be on Samoa Joe or Finn Balor, but I'm not sure what they're going to do with them next. I mean, really, it seems like the obvious choice would have been Braun Strowman already, but for some reason, they still haven't had him win a title. Well, technically, he won the Greatest Royal Rumble title tonight, but he should be Universal Champion by all means already. Who else is there to beat Brock Lesnar? I mean, I guess they're maybe going to set up some other big star, maybe bring in somebody from NXT, but I really can't think of anybody that they will have beat Brock. I know who I'd like to have beating Brock. I think, honestly, if you're going to have Seth Rollins drop the Intercontinental title anytime soon, he should be the one to beat Lesnar and have a good, solid run as Universal Champ. If Kevin Owens, I definitely would like to see him as well. So there's two possibilities there. Who would I like? Obviously, I'd like to see Kevin Owens have a long Universal Championship title run. Okay, he shouldn't have lost the title the way he had to against Goldberg and such, and he never really got his rematch, so there you go. I think definitely it should be Kevin Owens, and I'd also, of course, like to see Seth Rollins. Now, Dean Ambrose has been out for a while. I think he's been cleared, and that'd be great. It'd be a way to make up for their disappointing match that they had at Mania. Maybe have Dean Ambrose come back and challenge for the Universal title. How about that? I'd like to see it. Dean Ambrose is amazing, so why not? And if you ever want to leave comments or questions for me to address in my wrestling prediction or review videos, just follow me on Twitter at PopCultureJunk2, and I will address them in my next video. Thanks, guys and gals, for listening and watching. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you next time. This is the original Pop Culture Junkie saying, hey, to me, wrestling is always going to be real. See you guys later.